My name is Carmelo Curatola. This is my online Garmen presentation for my online marketing class. I'm gonna scoot over to the side so I can put stuff up on this wall right here while I'm speaking. So this presentation I decided not to do in a PowerPoint slide format. I'm still gonna have all my text and stuff appear up right here on this wall while I'm presenting. It's just because hopefully this will break it up and it'll be a little bit more entertaining to watch. So when I was looking for issues to do my Garmin paper on, I had a lot of great ideas. Like I put the Loch Ness Monster out there and I put some other dumb ideas that had nothing to do with the actual topic. It is really dumb. But anyways, my topic that I finally landed on is a topic that I think is really important. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it and why I think it's so important today. How does the language barrier affect minorities when they're receiving healthcare in the United States of America? Now, this might sound like a very, very specified problem. It is. It's very specified. But just because it's very, like a very specific range of people that it applies to doesn't mean that it's not important. And especially right now with all the things that are happening down in the border in Mexico, it's super apparent in the USA. And whether or not you agree with immigration or what's going on down there, it's really not opinion-based presentation. It's more of just laying the facts out there and how these legal immigrants come into the US and they struggle with receiving the proper health care. And I'm going to go over that a little bit now. So imagine coming to the US and not speaking any English at all. These are some of the obstacles you would have to overcome dealing with healthcare. Let's say you're sick, one of your kids is sick, one of your family members isn't feeling good, or you just want to get general healthcare insurance. This is what you have to deal with. This is a lot of the issues. The first one is miscommunicated symptoms. A lot of times, not all doctors have or speak the same language or are able to get interpreters into the doctor meetings with the clients. So the patients will be trying to tell the doctors what's wrong with them, but the doctors won't really understand because they don't understand 100% what's being said. Insurance providers is also pretty much a similar issue. It's that the insurance companies don't understand what kind of medical insurance these immigrants need, and it's really hard to find a translator that can accurately represent so many people at the same time. And so there's a lot of miscommunications in insurance policy as well. A lot of times too, when patients are trying to tell doctors what's wrong with them, doctors will misinterpret and give them something that's actually more harmful to them. They might not need this surgery, but the doctors still recommend it to them either way, in effect to take advantage, to get more money from insurance, or they just truly don't understand what's going on. So a great example of this is it's actually pretty recent, it's a situation that happened in Minnesota dealing with measles. So this is kind of a sad story. It was a small Somali community that was located in Minnesota. If you don't know, the Twin Cities area of Minnesota is a very diverse place. A lot of different ethnic groups move there. So what happened here in Minnesota with these Somalian children is a large group of Somali children were given this brand new measles vaccine. And it was said to be super safe, and they conveyed it to the parents as being this great vaccine, life-saving vaccine that their kids needed to get. And what ended up happening is 79 of those children broke out in measles when the nation itself only saw 6 outbreaks in the whole year. 79 outbreaks in Minnesota compared to 6 nationwide. So basically what happened here is this pharmacy, or these doctors that applied this vaccine, they were taking advantage of trying this new beta test on these kids. It's really sickening actually. And it ended up causing just mass harm. Many of these kids suffer still from blindness and deafness. A lot of them can't hear, they can't see, and it's really a sad scenario. And now what really happened here is a language barrier. If these parents would have truly understood what this vaccine was and that it was a new vaccine and it wasn't yet a trusted vaccine, if they would have been able to read that, or if that was properly communicated back and forth, I doubt that as many of these children would have been initialized or would have come in contact with this horrible vaccine. And so now we need a solution. How are we going to solve this? How are we going to solve a language barrier that has been an issue in the world since the first day? I mean, really, if you think about it, just communication in general is so hard with a different ethnicity that speaks a different language. So my solution is called SoloMed. What it is a medical-based algorithm and program that helps take analysis away from the doctor and more patient-machine oriented. So basically what it is it's a computer program combined into a machine. A patient would walk up, be able to select the language that they want, and they would input all their data into this machine, and it would then give them a very algorithmic, I can't pronounce algorithmic, I'm sorry. It's right here, this is what I'm trying to say. Outcome, and that would be sent to the doctor. The doctor would then analyze that data without having to even communicate with the patient, and that data would be put into whatever prescription they needed, whatever kind of medical surgery or or any other operation they would be needed would firsthand go through this machine, so the language barrier is taken almost out. This is a great solution for two big reasons. One is that a patient is able to interact with a machine that understands this language, and it can understand what the machine is saying back, rather than a third-party interpreter through a doctor. While this is a machine, and machines make very, very little mistakes compared to what humans make. Second, this is like the more marketing aspect of this. This machine would reduce costs in healthcare substantially over time. So one of the questions in our rubric is, how do you see this affecting your scenario 10 years down the road? Now, personally, I am in the healthcare real estate sector, so I deal a lot with healthcare in different states, and I can already see that a lot of healthcare is being moved more to online portals, and they already have beta programs like this that take patient diagnosis on patient input online, and they output it to the doctors. Now, this is already in the works. This is just a theoretical model. So in 10 years, I see this being very, very apparent. It would reduce costs, like I said earlier, because in the long run, machines don't need to be paid a salary. Their initial costs for the development and the upkeep might be a little bit higher, but over time, the machines would make their money back to where you would be paying doctor and nurse salary. Now that could be seen as, if we're looking at a whole economy effect, that could be seen as a negative thing too, I guess, if we're looking at it from an economic standpoint with less jobs. But I think there will always be new jobs evolving around new technology, so there would be new jobs opening up with the creation of these machines and the programming and the upkeep and the upgrading of these programs. So while, again, SoloMed is a theoretical program or machine that sometime I believe will be apparent in the future, and there are works that are on and down, like I said earlier, but I think this is a great solution to the language barrier affecting healthcare, and I feel like this could save a lot of lives. If those parents of those kids with measles were able to read all the data and find out that this is a new tested drug that hadn't been tested on anyone before except for their kids, I think a lot of parents would have probably held back and then found out the more standard vaccination they could have got for measles rather than this new beta tested drug. And I think that would have saved a lot of kids' lives. Thank you guys for listening. This is my presentation for my Garmin presentation. I hope you enjoyed.